Welcome to the Lifestyle First podcast, discussing lifestyle medicine and making self-care as easy as 1, 2, 3. 1 question, 2 research reviews, and 3 actionable health tips, all centered around the Lifestyle First method, your blueprint for the 10 key routes of optimal health and happiness. And now your host, lifestyle medicine physician and coach, Dr. Alka Patel.
Hi, hey, and hello. Welcome to Season 7, Episode 11. This is the final episode just for this season. So I want to ask you a question. The one question I want to ask is, do you know your LQ? Now you can measure your level of cognitive intelligence through an IQ test, can't you? And you can measure your level of emotional intelligence through an EQ test. Well, now you can measure your level of lifestyle intelligence through an LQ test. Your LQ is your lifestyle quotient. It's a measure of how much priority your lifestyle has in your life. And you know my ethos, lifestyle first. All the research that I've been sharing and all the conversations we've been having on this podcast, they tell us that lifestyle needs to be valued as a vital asset for health, and it needs to be prioritized. It needs to come first. We need to be able to design our life with our lifestyle at the nucleus, and your LQ, it enables you to apply intelligence to that very design. It's the stories of thousands of patients that has led me to formulate the lifestyle factors that lie at the root of health into a test with a score, with a number, because I truly believe that numbers nudge need. Data drives determination and scores signal starting points. Now, there are many ways to measure your health, of course. In the book, Measuring Health by Ian Mcdowell, he reviews a range of questionnaires to measure your health. And he highlights that in the same way that language affects the way that we think, so do our health measurements. They affect the way we think about our health and action our health. Now, we're surrounded by a sea of information, aren't we? And it is easy to feel drowned by that tsunami of advice, making it pretty difficult to know where to focus and where to take action. So how do you get to surf the waves of life instead of being pulled along by its undercurrent? The important thing is knowing where to start, and the LQ test helps you identify areas in your lifestyle that need your attention. It gives you your starting point. And the purpose of knowing your LQ is to increase your self-awareness about those areas in your life that influence your health and your happiness, and to help you to make decisions about what actions you want to take to allow yourself to progress towards what's important to you. Now, the other thing to remember about your LQ is the Hawthorne Effect. The Hawthorne Effect means that your behaviour changes simply because you're being watched. It's a term that was first described in the 1950s by researcher Henry A. Landsberger during his analysis of experiments conducted in the 1920s and 30s. The phenomenon is named after the location where the experiments took place at Western Electric's Hawthorne Works near Hawthorne in Illinois. Now, the electric company had commissioned research to determine if there was a relationship between productivity and work environments. And the original purpose of the Hawthorne studies was to examine how different aspects of the work environment, such as lighting, the timing of breaks, and the length of the workday, what effect they had on worker productivity. And in the most well-known of these experiments, the illumination study, the focus of the study was to determine if increasing or decreasing the amount of light that workers received would have an effect on how productive they were. And in the original study, employees' productivity seemed to increase due to increased light. But productivity then decreased once the experiment was over, even though the lighting stayed the same. And then what the researchers in the original studies also found was that almost any change to the experimental conditions led to an increase in productivity. For example, productivity increased even when illumination was decreased to the level of candlelight, when breaks were completely eliminated, and when the working day was lengthened. So what the researchers concluded was that workers weren't responding to changes in the environment. They were responding to the increased attention from the supervisors, suggesting that productivity increased due to attention, due to being watched, and not because of changes in the experimental variables. It's a connection between being measured and change. Now, there's been more research undertaken in an attempt to understand this effect further. Stephen Levitt and John Liss revisited this data from the original illumination experiment, and they concluded that whilst we can't prove the Hawthorne effect, there are subtle manifestations. And you'll notice it yourself. If you tell people what you're doing, you're more likely to do it. If you know your exercise tracker is measuring your daily steps, you're more likely to want to hit that target. We love numbers. They keep us edging forwards. But life is busy, and what you really don't want to spend time on is focusing on the things that you don't need to. And that's why doing an LQ test is the first step for focused change. You might find that your score tells you that your focus should be on moving more to revitalize that aching body, to decrease your risk of disease, to feel more agile and energized. Or it might tell you to prioritize your relationships so that you can increase your emotional energy, feel connected and valued, meet your most deepest belonging needs. Or it might highlight that you need to eat differently, to boost your mood, to keep your weight in shape, to maximize your nutritional intake. Or perhaps to sleep better, so that you wake up feeling refreshed and revitalized, you can sharpen your memory, and you can elevate your productivity.
And now, here is your Lifestyle First prescription. Your 3 activating actions to take you from knowing to doing.
So number 1, take the LQ test. You can find it on my website, dralkapatel.com. Number 2, once you've taken the test, I'd love you to tag me on social media with the hashtag #IKnowMyLQ and decide what actions you need to take to optimize your score. You know that I am all about turning knowledge into action. And number 3, invite your friends and family to take the test and then plan actions together. Cheerlead each other along the way, check in with each other, and introduce the LQ into your workplace as part of your approach to workplace well-being. Your LQ is part of you. Your lifestyle is part of you. It's with you wherever you are, at home, at work, at play. So I will now see you all back here for season 8 with a lineup of some very, very interesting guests. You really will want to stay tuned. But for now, I must simply wish you a happy, healthy day.
Thanks for joining us on the Lifestyle First podcast, making self-care as easy as 1, 2, 3. Don't forget to subscribe and share, and we'd love it if you'd be kind enough to leave a review. To learn more or to arrange a consultation, please visit www.dralkapatel.com. See you next time.